Ambritt from the Louisville Public Library. Today we're going to be doing some crafting, but I wanted to let you know we're going to have a grab bag the first Monday of every month. It's going to be related to the craft. There'll be supplies in there for you and it will correspond with that Saturday's video. So this will be once a month, the first Monday of the month. Also, if you could leave a comment, we'd really appreciate it. It truly helps the library. Just let us know how many people are watching at home and if there's anything else you'd like me to do in the crafting videos or different crafts you'd like to see. Okay, let's get started. Hi, so today we're going to be making this really cute heart in honor of Valentine's Day. I know Valentine's Day has passed, but I always think of February as being like Valentine's Day month. So really this is good for the whole month of February and then beyond. Just something cute to kind of put as a home decor piece on the wall somewhere. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so to make this craft, you will need first some wired twine. This is just literally wire with some sort of, like papery twine on top of it. You can get tons of different colors. You can get more like rustic looking brown, kind of a natural look, or something like I've done here, the red. Usually you can get these, what would you call this? A roll of this for around $10, something like that. And then you will need some cutters. This is going to be for cutting the twine since there's wire in it. And then also for your faux like greenery that you have, you'll need some sort of like leaves, just something that's, green. Doesn't necessarily have to be these kind of leaves, could be really anything that you like. But you will need this for cutting off from the stem of like the faux flowers. So you need some of those, and you can do as many as you like. It doesn't have to be a certain amount. For this one I did 3, just kind of like the intact ones, and then I cut one of these into 3 little leaves separate and just did that on the top. So that's what I'll do for this one as well. And then you'll need scissors for cutting the leaves, and then hot glue, because that's just gonna work super quick and be the easiest for applying the leaves and then putting together the heart. So to get started, you'll want to take your twine first. So this one I did 2 layers. I'm just going to do 1 layer today. The 2 layers honestly is more difficult than just doing a 1 layer of twine. When you do the 2 layers, it's just really hard to get it even because it is wire and it keeps, as much as you bend it, it keeps wanting to kind of, jump up and be a different shape than you're trying to make. So I might recommend to you to just do the 1 layer, but if you do want to have the 2 layer and just make it a little thicker, it will work. Just know it's not going to be quite as even and you're really gonna have to work at it. So I have cut this. You don't really have to cut a set amount. I would always overcut what you think you're going to need just because you want it to be 1 piece. And if you want like a good size heart, you will need a fairly long piece. If you cut it a little too short, then it's going to be harder. You're going to have 2 separate pieces and then try to glue it together, and that doesn't really work as well. So I'm just kind of molding this a little bit, trying to straighten it out a little. So I'm just going to move this off to the side. So when you start molding it, you're just literally doing kind of like when you're drawing a heart, you're just kind of seeing. What works, you're trying to kind of make each side even as possible. And it's never going to be perfect, just like when you're drawing a heart. It's very hard to make each, side as even as the other, but just take your time. Keep kind of looking back. Okay. So now I have this side done, my first kind of like loop. And then I'm just gonna fold this over on top of it. And that's how I'm going to try to make this as even as possible. So I have this side done, and I pulled this one over. I'm just kind of like going on top of it just to kind of get each side as similar as I can. So there we go. So now I'm just going to trim at the bottom where my fingers are here at the bottom. Trim both ends. Okay. And now I'm just going to like open her up. This one's going to be bigger than this one a little bit, since I'm not doing the 2 layers. Just because, again, it's just a lot more difficult to do the 2 layers, especially if you want something big. If you want to do something even bigger than this, I would definitely recommend just doing one like string of twine. So if you need to kind of take stuff and weigh the top down while you're getting the bottom. So again, we're just kind of keep molding. And if you don't have wire twine, you didn't want to buy any, you could also do this with just some sort of wire. You wouldn't want a really thick gauge because it's just going to be really hard to work with. But you have something that's a little thicker than like that thin jewelry wire that's, you know, it's like 3 millimeters or so. I can't remember exactly, but it's that really thin, small stuff. That stuff would probably maybe work, but you would want something a little bit thick. So you could use some sort of wire, so keep that in mind too. And you could even decorate the wire with like duct tape or something, like wrap it around the wire. So there's definitely different options than necessarily having to use the twine. Okay, so for the bottom, I just twisted the ends around each side. You can kind of see, just like when you have, you know, like bread and it's got the little twisty ties, we're just twisting around. That's just how I'm kind of finishing off that part. If you have anything that's sticking out on the wire, you can always use these to kind of push it down so you don't, you know, poke yourself. And then I'm just molding that bottom part because I want it to be, you know, in like the V there. Alright, so that's where I'm at now. I'm gonna try to fix this top part, just mold it some more, and then we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So I've just kind of molded this wire a little bit more just to make it as even as possible. So there's where we're at now. You'll notice it doesn't really want to lay flat. Just as you work with it more and then you end up hanging it, it'll be fine. So for this one, because it's a little bit larger, I'm going to do 4 of these pieces here, just like I did on this one. And then I'm going to do, I've got 3 pieces already cut, little leaves. And then I'm going to add, I think, 2 more. So what you'll want to do is just take your leaves, so if you have something like this, just kind of cut however you like, just to kind of have just the, you know, on its own. So really simple, just kind of cutting pieces off. Now, I'm going to cut the bottom parts. So, there we go. So we'll probably just end up using, I think, 4 or 5. We'll have to decide once we see how it looks. So for adding your leaves, you want to make sure you have something to put behind your heart where you're gluing, just to make sure you don't get glue on whatever surface you're working on. So I'm just using a piece of paper. So I'm going to start with one of these little bit bigger ones and take the hot glue. Before you glue, I would recommend just seeing where you want it laid out. So I'm putting it very similar to the way I've done this one, so just kind of near the bottom on this side and then at the top on this side. But you don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you like. So I'm just going to add the glue directly to the wire and then put down the leaf. And then kind of figure out where you want the next one. Yeah, definitely recommend always looking and kind of placing before you actually glue down, just in case. And then make sure you lift your design away from the paper if you have excess glue, because you don't want your paper or whatever you've put down to stick to the back. So now I'm going to flip this over, and before I glue anymore, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue behind the leaf where it meets the wire, just for kind of just an extra hold, so I know it won't go anywhere. And just let that dry. I'm going to use this bigger leaf and I'm going to kind of put it behind this one. I'm just going to put some glue onto the leaf this time and then place it behind the other leaf onto the wire and flip it over. And then just repeat that process, putting the glue behind where the wire and the leaf meet. So go ahead and keep repeating that process. Add your leaves wherever you like, as many as you like, and then you'll be done. All right, so let me take a break and I will show you what it looks like in the end. We're back. So I am finished. Just finished gluing on those leaves. Ooh, if I can grab it, it's so big. So I added the leaves to this side and then of course to the top, and I did add more leaves, like I said I was going to do, than I did on the smaller one, the 2-layer. So if you do want to do the 2-layer one, just know this is one whole piece that I just kind of kept finagling and gluing, and then once I had the heart shape initially, what I had left excess, I just went over that, if that makes sense, and just tied it off at the bottom. That's why I have that kind of, you know, extra chunk that's like peeking out. But I still think it looks nice even, you know, with that. But if you did want to do a bigger one, definitely recommend just doing a 1 layer of the wired twine. Alright, so I really hope you enjoyed. Tune in again next week. Thanks for watching our video today. Join us again next week and every week on Saturdays for a crafting video. Also, again, there'll be a grab bag once a month on Mondays, the first Monday of the month, corresponding with that Saturday's craft. Again, please leave us a comment in this video. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us a bunch. And don't forget to stay safe out there.